Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Wonder Woman, issue number 64. Sorry, should I be holding it this way? Dude, this is... If you guys don't watch my This Week in Comics video that I put out every Tuesday at around 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, came out 15 minutes early last week. Dude, you are missing out on a lot, because I mentioned how this cover was already sold out in most comic book stores before it ever reached before Wednesday ever actually happened. All right, so before the comic books hit the stands, they were already sold out due to pre-orders. Just saying, I hope you guys got your hands on this because this is a gorgeous cover, man, and you're gonna be spending a lot more than cover price to get this. But anyway, Stanley Artgerm Lau is the variant cover artist, and man, the dude is amazing. Let's get started on this. This issue is called The Grudge by G. Willow Wilson on writing and Jesus Marino on pencils. Andy Owens does the inks. Romulo Fayaro Jr. does the covers. Pat Brousseau on letters. Terry and Rachel Dodson did the cover. And, of course, Stanley Artgerm Lau did this. Of course, William Moulton Morrison is the writer for Wonder Woman, the original writer that they say created by. Yeah, but he wasn't the artist. And it disgusts me, sick and tired of it, how Wonder Woman comics never give reference to H.G. Peter. He deserves his freaking credit. I'm just saying, like, I mention this pretty much every time, and every so often it just... I just recently had a conversation with a comic book creator, old school comic book creator. He has created several characters. He has had his own problems with trying to get credit for certain characters and, some share in the profits for the licensing of those characters. I mean, he doesn't get a say in how they're written or where they appear or anything like that, but he does get paid for them, and that's all that you can ever ask for. Steve Ditko never appreciated the way that Spider-Man was used after he left, or even while he was there. But, for the most part, and I know it's more complicated than that, but he did still get checks for every time that Spider-Man appeared in, movies and things like that. So, what do you call it? It took forever for Bill Finger to finally be recognized, legal concerns or not. You guys always hear me take digs on Bob Kane because of how utterly disrespectful and ambivalent he was to other people's contributions, specifically Bill Finger in the creation of Batman. Go and check out my Twitter for a retweet that I did of something, there. But yeah, dude, Bill Finger finally got the recognition that he gets, even if he's not going to, even if his family isn't going to be benefiting from it, which I don't know if they do or not. Just the idea, at least freaking honor somebody's name. It took Neil Adams and and Richard Donner, for crying out loud, for the creators of Superman to finally, Siegel and Schuster, to finally get their credit for Superman. You know what I'm saying? It would just be nice if, Wonder Woman is the last of the Holy Trinity that DC continues to benefit from. It'd be nice if you actually at least mentioned their freaking names, acknowledged the existence of H.G. Peter. And Marvel has its own problems too. When does Wolverine ever have his freaking creators' names mentioned? And they're kind of important. One just died recently. Go look them up. You know what I'm saying? They benefit a lot from these characters, and I'm not going to feel bad for a big company talking about, yeah, but these creators and their families, they're going to want a big chunk of change. Too bad. That's kind of the way it works. And you've skirted copyright laws long enough. It's disgusting. They need to be taken care of. As far as this comic book, I may have mentioned it's called The Grudge. Veronica Cale is in this one, and she's got a grudge against Wonder Woman, and it's a very valid grudge. It's valid enough, even in the comics, that, I'm saying it's a valid enough grudge, but it's valid enough that Nemesis, the goddess of despair, is going to go after Wonder Woman. I love that. I genuinely love that. That's a great idea. Great concept to go forward with, to keep the story moving. Cadmus shows up to give, and by Cadmus I don't mean the group. It's not the acronym. This is the actual the Pegasus Cadmus. Steve Trevor, who's getting his wounds nursed by Wonder Woman, is freaking hysterical in this. I don't know if G. Willow Wilson was trying to reference this or not, but like Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, was is bumming. Like here's a goddess, a god who's slumming, like a homeless god. Oh, I'm gonna feel so bad for you, right? Like I'm gonna feel bad for freaking Jeff Bezos, saying if something bad happens to him. No, saying no, just you're set. So you're a goddess. I'm sure you can figure something out. All right. Anyway, a freaking goddess living in a cardboard box. That would actually be a really cool story. Maybe I'll write that one of these days if nobody else will. Maybe I'll write it regardless. The point is, like, I'm not going to feel bad for her. But I think that Miss Wilson was indicating that Steve was very tempted by her. And I don't care if you're with a demigoddess like Wonder Woman or not. It's Aphrodite, bro. that's freaking Aphrodite. So yeah. Nah. Anyway, yeah, I thought that this was actually really cool that that there's actually some backstory going on that we don't have to droll over. We don't have to sit there and oh, this is happening. It's like it's mentioned and we move on. Awesome, which means that we can still come back to it. Perfect. That's perfect. The story structure here, fantastic. Nemesis, who it's mentioned in here, she's the daughter of Nyx, who just showed up in the Marvel Universe, so crossover? No. But interesting. Just something that I noticed. I love that Cadmus actually brought, first off, it's still keeping the animals. The animals to me are some of the most interesting parts of this. Or at least they could be. They're weird, but they're interesting nonetheless. They're mentioned and then we move on. Cadmus brings Wonder Woman to the site of this crater that was most likely, clearly, created by Veronica Cable. Veronica Cale. And I'm thinking Bethany Cabe over in the Tony Stark Iron Man comics. Cale's employees, so to speak, Nemesis. So, interesting. Excuse me. There's, oh, for crying out loud. Wonder Woman shows up there and these two fight. And it's quickly broken up. We understand why, very valid reason, I say, for Veronica Cale to be upset at Wonder Woman. But she's going to try and discredit Wonder Woman through really baloney ways of doing it. Now, yes, it is a baloney way of doing this. At the same time, I mentioned, I'm pretty sure it was the first issue that I reviewed for G. Willow Wilson. She does have very progressive politics, which, yeah, I can agree with most progressive politics. The certain aspects of the social justice part where it gets a little bit too overwhelming, where you have a bunch of people who are just offended at every little thing, gets annoying. But yeah, I'm down with the idea of progressive politics because that's the only politics that's actually for the people, the majority of its citizenry everywhere. But Miss Wilson does something interesting here, and I don't know what's in her mind. I've never spoken with her. I've never sent a tweet to her for her to answer. We've never communicated with each other before. All right. I did actually ask to talk to her once in an email. I don't know if she ever got the email, but she never responded. So, full disclosure. But she basically, like, you understand how Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, will lie about things that we clearly know the truth. And the only people who believe him, especially consistency, are his base. And the only reason I can understand why they would do that is because he hates the same people that they hate. All right, just facts are facts, man. Don't think that I'm a Democrat in any way, shape, or form, because I'm not. To hell with the Democratic Party. To hell with the Republican Party. To hell with any and every party, because they're all scum. They're all scum. If you're a politician, chances are you got a lot of scummery in you. But there are some that at least bear some resemblance of hope. Anyway, I feel that this Veronica Cale character is being modeled after Donald Trump in some way. Just my opinion. Again, I don't have any verifiable proof for this. But she does things that are unbelievable. One of the things that she does is she's framing Wonder Woman for something which is just, it's absurd. It's absurd the way that she's doing it. And yet, we can listen to Donald Trump calling the New York Times fake news, and all these, these Republicans will be like, the conservatives, yeah, it's fake news because Donald Trump says fake news. And when I say all, I don't mean all. Sorry, that was a slip on my part. I'm not trying to attribute something falsely to people. But at the same time, these are the same people who will love Ann Coulter. And what is Ann Coulter's claim to fame? New York Times bestseller. Multiple times. Now, granted, the way that she becomes a New York Times bestseller is because she has certain very wealthy donors who will buy 3,000 copies each of her book and donate them to libraries all over the world, or all over the country. I don't know about all over the world, but all over the country, that's for sure. Facts, verifiable facts, and that's why she's a New York Times bestseller. So, New York Times is fake news. But, my claim to fame is because New York Times bestseller. So it's funny how we will use whatever proofs we need in order to not find the truth, but to verify our own biases. Interesting. Anyway, so I want to say that this is the stupidest freaking way in the world to have Veronica Cale get her revenge on Wonder Woman. At the same time, I can't help but to see that it's so freaking realistic that, yeah, people are going to believe whatever they want to believe. And if Miss Wilson can do this carefully, and of course it's going to have to be expertly, then I think that this could wind up being a really awesome story. I think it's one of those things that people are going to say, no, this is so stupid. But again, I'm pointing out, yes, it's as stupid gets, and yet somehow you're going to have people who are going to believe stupid things because you hate the things that I hate. Yeah, that's really all I've got for this comic book. There are plenty of other things that happen in this comic book, plenty of reasons to get this comic book, to check this out. I feel that if I'm right in the way that this story is going to continue progressing, I think that this is a really great turning point for the book, because I did not like any of the issue. I didn't love any of the issues prior. I liked the previous issue to a degree. The first issue was actually pretty cool, that Miss Wilson jumped on. This is only I think her 6th issue that she's on. I believe that I'm positive that she's got her finger on the pulse of the bulk of society. If you disagree with her politics, again, you are in the minority. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't agree with everything that she believes, but yeah, I can't disagree with most of it. So there's that. Yeah, this could wind up being a really great turning point for the comic book. We could have a really interesting story going forward, but it's got to be handled very delicately. So I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to go forward. We'll see. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.